Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone, please stand up for the Aarti. जय श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, गौर निताय की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Everyone. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare। Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare। Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sitaram. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Gaura Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. That was so wonderful. Everyone so nicely sang for the Lordship. So we're going to be offering our obeisance to Guru Parampara. So if you have some space, you can bow down. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Acharya Astotra Sata Srimati His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Acharya Astotra Sata Srimati His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Prem Kho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasudi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardham ki. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai ki. Tulsi Maharani Bhakti Devi ki. Vrindavan Dham Mathura Dham ki. Mayapur Dham Navadvip Dham ki. Jagannath Puri Dham Dwaraka Dham ki. Bhaktivedanta Manor Dham ki. Harinama Sankirtan ki. Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. We humbly request everyone to be seated. We have the Narasimha prayer and the lyrics are there on the TV screen so you can follow that. So please be seated. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladalaradayine. Praladalaradayine. Hiranyakashi Vaksha Hiranyakashi Vaksha Shilatanka Nakalaye Shilatanka Nakalaye Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimho Yato Yato Yamitato Nrsimha Bahir Nrsimho Hridaye Nrsimho Bahir Nrsimho Hridaye Nrsimho Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavarita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Tavakaraka Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Nrsimhadev Nrsimhadev Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jai Bhaktivedanta Manor Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Shrestha Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Aarti. This is especially what is recommended in Kali Yuga, congregational chanting of the holy name, and which is what we have done. So I just wanted to quickly mention about the two important festivals that we are coming up with. So tomorrow is going to be the appearance day of Sita Devi. So normally when we are born we say birthday, but when the Lord or when the Lord devatas, when the goddess is born, we say appearance day, because the Lord, they appear and they disappear, isn't it? So tomorrow is the appearance day of Sita Devi. So there's going to be a very nice celebration in the temple, in the mandir. So if you have some space, you can if you have some time, you can surely come to the mandir. Already the beautiful decorations have started. They started making, and especially on the festival days, the deities are so beautifully decorated. We should never use the word idol, because a lot of people think that Hindus are idol worshippers, but we are not idol worshippers. Idol means imagination. We are not imagining. It is according to our shastras. That's why we call it as Archa Vigraha worshippers. We are deity worshippers. So we should always keep that in mind. About our own dharma, we should know first, right? We should always protect our own dharma, and that we can do when we know knowledgeable about it, right? So tomorrow is the appearance day of Sita Devi, and next, again, on the 30th of April, we have the appearance day of Narasimha Dev. So two beautiful festivals. There's going to be amazing decorations and beautiful. This place will be so beautifully decorated. And just also to share with you, right? Interestingly, Bhagavan Sri Krishna explains about Sita Devi's father in Bhagavad Gita. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim astika janakadaya loka sangrahamevapi samtusteme. So Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, you should never leave your prescribed duties. We all have two dharmas in our life, Swadharma and Sanatan Dharma. Swadharma, our daily responsibilities towards our family, towards our children, towards our society. So those duties, Krishna is never asking us to run away from our duties. We should always keep doing our Swadharma. And in sidelines, because we are an Atma, we should always serve the Paramatma. And the Atma is called as Sanatana. The Paramatma is called as Sanatana. That's why our religion is called as Sanatan Dharma. Right? So these things should happen in parallel. So Bhagavan Sri Krishna is giving us this message that through Bhagavad Gita, that like the following the footsteps of Janaka, who Sita Devi's father, he was a saintly king. He's called as a Raja. He was so saintly that while he was a king, he was still following his responsibilities. But he was a very saintly king, right? And how did Sita Devi get the name? Do anybody have an idea? So once it so happened that when Janaka Maharaj was ruling this place called Mathila, there was so much of drought at that time. There was no water, no complete drought at that time. So the Brahmanas at that time, they have suggested to King Janaka to kind of do a fire sacrifice. At that time, for everything in Treta Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was fire sacrifice. For everything, they would do a fire sacrifice. So at that time, following the instructions of the Brahmanas, Janaka is ordered for the fire sacrifice. After that whole thing is done, in order to bear the fruits of the yajna, he said you have to plow the land, So when Janaka himself was plowing the land as part of the sacrifice, and when he was plowing, the plow that he used for plowing, he suddenly hit the tip of the plow, hit something which later he found out that it was a golden basket. And in that golden basket, Sita Devi was found. And because the tip of the plow in Sanskrit is called as Sita, and that's the reason, that's how the name Sita Devi has come. And so I just wanted to share about how the Sita Devi name came. And can we imagine Ramayana without Sita Devi? Right? Not only that Lord Ram showed how to be an ideal father and ideal king, Sita Devi also shown how to be a chaste wife. That when Lord Ram said, I have been banished to go into the exile, into the forest. You are fine, you are brought up as a princess, Sita Devi, you don't need to come along with me. Because it is my duty that according to the instructions of, his father, that he had to go into the forest. He said, you can stay back. But Sita Devi said, no, I will come with you, along with you. I will leave all this, whatever, she was brought up so nicely in all her life. But she said, I'm ready to leave all that because I want to come along with you. And I will remove all the thorns that come in the way while you're walking to the forest. So in this way, the Ramayana is so close to all of our heart because each of them, they set an example how to lead an ideal life. And it is even more applicable in this Kali Yuga. Because in Kali Yuga, you see the relationships have gone so bad, isn't it? What we see in our ancestors, we don't even see now during our own lifetime, we don't see the same relationship. The relationships have gone so bad. So in this Kali Yuga also, we have to follow the examples of Ramayana to see how Sita Devi was, instrumental sentimental, how much of love she had for Lord Ram. That Ram, even though he was a Kshatriya, he could have married so many princes, but he said no. Why? One of the greatest quality of Lord Ram is Satyavak, Ekapatni, Ekavrata, and Ekabana. So he was known that only, no, for Sita Devi, I will grow all the way. He built the Ramasetu bridge and he went all the way to bring Sita Devi back. And how Sita Devi has influenced even Hanuman. We all know the Ram Bhakta Hanuman. Till then, he was a Ramaduta. He went as a messenger of Lord Ram. But after seeing Sita Devi's love for Lord Ram, from Ramaduta, he became a Rama Bhakta. So you can see seeing the unalloyed devotion of Sita Devi towards Lord Ram, he was also so influenced that he became a great devotee of Ram. And we also know that in Hanuman Chalisa, Hanuman, there is a reference to Sita Devi as to Asta Siddhi Navanidike Data. Because why? Hanuman has been given this gift that he can become smaller than the smallest, larger than the largest. And all this power came from Sita Devi. He was the one who blessed Hanuman with all these powers. So sometimes we think like, why Ravana could have taken and Sita Devi, she could have done anything because she gave the powers to Hanuman. Do you think she can't become so smaller than the smallest? And no, because this Ramayana is to teach us about the ideals, to teach us about how to be like Lord Ram, how to be like Mother Sita. She waited till Lord Ram come and take her. So this is a beautiful story for us to lead how to be an ideal husband, how to be an ideal wife, like that. They set an example for all of us. And this Ramakatha, Krishna Katha, they are so divine to hear. Krishna himself tells the importance. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatataha chakto deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So those who are listening to Ramakatha, those who are listening to Krishna Katha, it is so auspicious that Krishna himself tells in Bhagavad Gita that whoever are listening to the Katha, towards the end of their life, they have developed so much of spiritual bank balance. We only think about NatWest bank balance. But you listening here about this Katha, already some points are going into your spiritual bank balance as we speak. Because you've given your Shravanam. The whole thing is all about Shravanam. What is Bhagavad Gita is all about? Bhagavad Gita is all about Shravanam. Krishna is telling and Arjuna is listening. So the first important thing is listening. Whether it is Harikatha or whether it is Bhagavad Gita. And when you do that Shravanam, that is good enough for you to go back to the spiritual world. So we just wanted to just mention to you about how auspicious it is to listen. And tomorrow also, morning, we are going to have one of our monks who's going to be giving about Sita Devi, appearance day. There's going to be a Katha at 7:45. Like that, the whole day we're going to have programs. So if you got some time, please join us for the Sita Devi's appearance day. And this is the way in which, because with the Lord, it is also not about one way. It's always two ways. When we take the effort to go towards Krishna and Lord Ram, they take always the reciprocation and they bless us with that. So when we come to the mandir, it's not that we have come to see Lord Krishna. The actual thing is we have come to be seen by the Lord. Seen by the devatas. That should be our realization. That yes, I have come here to be seen by you. Please give your blessings. And when we come, we should pray for three things. One, we should glorify how beautiful you are looking, Lord, and how beautiful you are looking, Devi. We have to glorify. Second thing, we should show gratitude. And third thing, we should ask for forgiveness. In this way, our prayers will become more powerful, right? And because here we are not selfish, we are not asking, I'm going to give you this and you give me that. We are not doing business with Lord, but we have just come here to show our gratitude towards the Lord and ask for their blessings, right? So thank you so much for giving your attention. So can I ask everyone? So here we can see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself, who came in the avatar of a devotee. He is the one who has actually given us the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who has given us the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna is so kind. Not only he tells in Bhagavad Gita that practice Bhakti Yoga, but how to do Bhakti Yoga, Krishna himself comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to tell us that in Kali Yuga, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalu Nasteva Nasti Eva Gatiranyata, which means in Kali Yuga, the easiest and the powerful way to attain Krishna Prema is by always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the reason why we are all chanting the Hare Krishna, sometimes people say, why you guys are only chanting Hare Krishna? Because it is being given by Krishna himself who came in the avatar of a devotee. Why would we chant anything else? Because the entire power of Krishna is invested in this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we should always glorify the Panchatattva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the middle, blue color dhoti, that's Nityananda, who's none other than Balaram. Extremely left is white color dhoti, is Advaita Acharya, who's none other than Sadasiva and Mahavishnu. And second from the right is Gadadhar Pandit, who's none other than incarnation of Radharani, and extremely right holding his hands, his name is Srivas Pandit, and he's an incarnation of Narada Muni. So this Panchatattva, they are the ones who are given us the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and so we should always take their blessings. When we get their blessings, our Hare Krishna chanting will go 100% successful. So can I ask everyone to keep your hands up in the mood of surrender, because that is how they showed how to surrender, and just repeat after me the Panchatattva mantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. And now chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this small endeavor that you did, glorifying the Panchatattva in this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this is one of the greatest endeavor. Small things, great results. So by just doing this Panchatattva mantra, you have purchased Krishna. So Krishna will always be with you. If you take one step, Krishna will take 100 steps with you. So please, our honest advice, you're fortunate to be coming to the mandir. Now you take your fortune to the next step by always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Thank you so much for giving your association. We are going to be having, Prabhuji, what are we doing? Krishna Katha? We are going to be having beautiful nectar. Prabhuji is going to explain about Krishna Katha. So please stay back. Hare Krishna.
Just tell them about prasadam as well.
So also on the devotees on the way out, there's Mahaprasadam being served in the Haveli. It's the first Seva hall on the right side as you get down the steps. Hare Krishna.
The course now on the Mother Sita.
Oh yeah? Where's the course?
In
Thanks.
Haveli. In the Haveli.
Have fun.
No?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
I know I got your message. I'll get back to you soon. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everybody. So we're going to read something from this wonderful book called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we're doing this practically every day, and it's very helpful, enlivening, and life-saving, no exaggeration. Before we begin reading and discussing, I'm just going to offer a few prayers to the spiritual master and the Lord and his various expansions, incarnations, and energies. Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktani Shamisha Vatarakan Tat Prakasham Shatat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Samjnakam Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoritao Gaurauraye Pushpavantao Chitrao Shandao Tamonudao Yaradvaitam Brahmopanishadi Tarapyasya Tanubha Ya Atmantaryami Purushi Iti Sosyam Shavibhava Sharaishvaryai Purno Yaiha Bhagavan Sasvayamayam Nachaitanyat Krishnaj Jagati Paratatvam Paramiha Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunaya Vatirna Kala Samarpaitum Munatoch Philarasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Dyuti Sadam Kandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spurituva Shachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladini Shakti Rasmad Ekatmana Vapibhuvipura Dehabedam Gatautau Chaitanyakyam Prakatamaduna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Nami Krishna Swarupam Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kirti Shovanayaiva Svadyo Yenadbhuta Mathurima Kirti Shova Madhya Saukyam Chasya Maranubhavata Kirtisham Veti Lophat Tadbhavadya Samajani Shachi Garbha Sindhu Harindu Sankarshana Karanato Yashai Garbho Dashai Chapayoptishai Sheshaschayasyam Shakalasa Nityanandakirama Sharanam Amastu Mayatite Vyapivai Kuntaloke Purnaishvarye Shri Chaturvyuhamatye Rupam Yasyodbhati Sankarshanakyam Tam Shri Nityanandaramam Prapadye Maya Bharta Janda Sangha Shayanga Shete Sakshat Karanam Bhoti Madhye Yasyakam Shashri Pumanari Revas Tam Shri Nityanandaramam Prapadye Yasyam Sham Shashri Lagar Bodhashai Yannabhyajam Lokasanghatanalam Loka Sashtu Sutikadhamadatus Tam Shri Nityanandaramam Prapadye Yasyam Sham 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 Paratma Kilanam Poshta Vishnu Bhati Duktabdishai Kshauni Bharta Yatkala Sopyanantas Tam Shri Nityanandaramam Prapadye Mahavishnu Jagatkarta Mayayaya Sujatyara Tasyavatara Evayam Advaitacharya Ishvara Advaitam Harinadvaitad Acharyam Bhakti Samshanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaitacharyam Ashraye Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Svarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jayatam Surata Pangor Mama Mandamatergati Matsarvasvaparam Bhoja Radha Madana Mohano Divyadvrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratna Garasimhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devau Prishtali Bhisevyamanav Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivatatastita Karshan Venus Vanar Gopir Gopinata Shriyestuna Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Etina Thakur Goriyake Kariyachena Atmasat Etinera Charana Vandong Tine Moranata Grantera Arambhe Kari Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana Tinera Smarane Hoya Vigna Vinashana Anayase hoya nija vanchita purana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Shinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridyantasto Yabadrani Vidanoti Siritsitam Nashtaprayish Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyutam Ashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatare Shatarine Vanchakalpaturbhyascha Kripasunubhyevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava Ebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We're reading from Krishna book, chapter 44, and we're picking up where we left off yesterday. Krishna had fulfilled the desire, the request of his teacher Sandipani Muni to rescue Sandipani Muni's son from the abode of death. The Lord was able to do this, of course, because he is the master of Yamaraj, so he could go there, and he returned Sandipani Muni's son to him. The residents of Vrindavan who came to Mathura returned to Vrindavan after Kamsa was killed. And Krishna, in his form as Vasudeva, his expansion, and Balaram, in his form as Sankarshana, remained in Mathura. Krishna was thinking, if he were to go to Vrindavan, then enemies such as Dantavakra and Jarasandha would not only attack Mathura, but would go on to Vrindavana, and the peaceful inhabitants of Vrindavan would be disturbed. Krishna therefore decided to remain in Mathura, and Nanda Maharaj went back to Vrindavan. Although the inhabitants of Vrindavan were feeling separation from Krishna, Krishna was always present with them by his lila, or pastimes, and this made them ecstatic. So this is not a formal lecture. We're simply hearing from our spiritual master, our founder Acharya and ISKCON Srila Prabhupada. He left us so many wonderful books for the purpose that we would hear from him in these books, and when we come together to take that seriously, then Krishna is pleased and we are blessed. So if anyone has any thoughts, reflections, or questions as we go through, if there's anything that strikes you as particularly significant or meaningful to you personally, feel free to share it. Since Krishna had departed from Vrindavan to Mathura, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, especially Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Srimati Radharani, the gopis, and the cowherd boys, were simply thinking of Krishna at every step. They were thinking, Krishna was playing in this way, Krishna was blowing his flute, Krishna was joking with us, and Krishna was embracing us. This is called Lila Smarana, and it is the process of association of Krishna most recommended by great devotees. Even Lord Chaitanya enjoyed Lila Smarana association with Krishna when he was at Puri. So Lila Smarana means to remember the various activities, pastimes of the Lord with his devotees, including the killing of including the killing of the various demons that entered Vrindavan. These are all lila. So when we remember Krishna's pastimes like this, we're actually associating with the Lord because He's absolute. His pastimes are none different from He Himself. Those who are in the most exalted position of devotional service and ecstasy can live with Krishna always by remembering His pastimes. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur has given us a transcendental literature entitled Krishna Bhavanamrita, which is full with Krishna's pastimes. Devotees can remain absorbed in Krishna thought by reading such books. So we'll have to remember that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Krishna Bhavanamrita. Any book of Krishna Lila, even this book, Krishna, and our teachings of Lord Chaitanya, is actually solace for devotees who are feeling the separation of Krishna. That Krishna and Balaram did not come to Vrindavan can be adjusted as follows. They did not break their promise to return to Vrindavan, nor were they absent, but their presence was necessary in Mathura. In the meantime, Uddhava, a cousin brother of Krishna, came to see Krishna from Dwarka. He was the son of Vasudeva's brother and was almost the same age as Krishna. His bodily features resembled Krishna's most exactly. After returning from his teacher's home, Krishna was pleased to see Uddhava, who happened to be his dearmost friend. He wanted to send him to Vrindavan with a message to the residents to pacify their deep feeling of separation. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Yayata mam prapadyante, Krishna is very responsive. And this is a nice statement. Krishna is very responsive. He responds in proportion to the devotee's advancement in devotional service. The gopis were thinking of Krishna in separation 24 hours a day. Krishna was also always thinking of the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and the residents of Vrindavana, although he appeared to be away from them. He could understand how they were transcendentally aggrieved, and so he immediately wanted to send Uddhava to give them a message of solace. Uddhava is described as the most exalted personality in the Vrishni dynasty, almost equal to Krishna. He was a great friend, and on account of being the direct student of Brihaspati, the teacher and priest of the heavenly planets, he was very intelligent and sharp in decision. From the intellectual standpoint, he was highly qualified. Krishna, being a very loving friend of Uddhava, wanted to send him to Vrindavan just to study the highly elevated, ecstatic devotional service practiced there. So Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan to give solace to his devotees there. But he also wanted Uddhava to see for himself the super excellent, elevated, ecstatic devotional service practiced by the residents of Vrindavan. Even if one is highly elevated in material education and is even the disciple of Brihaspati, he still has to learn from the gopis and the residents of Vrindavan how to love Krishna to the highest degree. Sending Uddhava to Vrindavan with a message to the residents of Vrindavan to pacify them was Krishna's special favor to Uddhava. Lord Krishna's name is Hari, which means one who takes away all the distress from the surrendered souls. Lord Chaitanya states that there cannot be at any time a worship as exalted as that realized by the gopis. Being very anxious about the gopis' grief, Krishna talked with Uddhava and politely requested him to go to Vrindavan. Shaking Uddhava's hand with his own hands, he said, "My dear gentle friend Uddhava, please go immediately to Vrindavan and try to pacify my father and mother, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, and the gopis. They are very much grief-stricken, as if suffering from great ailments. Go and give them a message. I hope their ailments will be partially relieved. The gopis are always absorbed in thoughts of me. They have dedicated body, desire, life, and soul to me. I am anxious not only for the gopis, but for anyone who sacrifices society, friendship, love, and personal comforts for me. It is my duty to protect such exalted devotees. The gopis are the most dear. They are always thinking of me in such a way that they remain overwhelmed and almost dead in anxiety due to separation from me. They are keeping alive simply by thinking that I am returning to them very soon." This is a different kind of anxiety. Almost dead due to separation from Krishna. And they only remained in a living condition. They would have left their bodies, but for the promise of the Lord to come home, to come back. Requested by Lord Krishna, Uddhava immediately left on his chariot and carried the message to Gokula. He approached Vrindavan at sunset, when the cows were returning home from the pasturing ground. Uddhava and his chariot were covered by the dust raised by the hooves of the cows. He saw bulls running after cows for mating. Other cows with overladen milk bags were running after the calves to fill them with milk. Uddhava saw that the entire land of Vrindavan was filled with white cows and their calves. Cows were running here and there all over Gokula, and he could hear the sound of milking. Every residential house in Vrindavan was decorated for the worship of the sun god and the fire god, and for the reception of guests, cows, brahmanas, and demigods. Every home was illuminated with light and incense arranged for sanctification. All over Vrindavan there were nice flower garlands, flying birds, and the humming sound of the bees. The lakes were filled with lotus flowers and with ducks and swans. Does anybody have anything yet? Any impression? Any reflection? Question? It's okay if you don't. I'm just checking in. Uddhava entered the house of Nanda Maharaj and was received as a representative of Vasudeva. Right, Vasudeva means Krishna. Nanda Maharaj offered him a place and sat down with him to ask about messages from Krishna, Balaram, and other family members in Mathura. He could understand that Uddhava was a very confidential friend of Krishna and therefore must have come with good messages. "My dear Uddhava, how is my friend Vasudeva enjoying life?" Right, that means Krishna's father. Krishna's father is Vasudeva, and Lord Krishna, as the son of Vasudeva, is called Vasudeva, long A. So Nanda Maharaj inquired, "My dear Uddhava, how is my friend Vasudeva enjoying life? He is now released from the prison of Kamsa, and he is now with his friends and his children, Krishna and Balarama. So he must be very happy. Tell me about him and his welfare." We are also very happy that Kamsa, the most sinful demon, is now killed. He was always envious of the family of the Yadus, his friends and relatives. Now, because of his sinful activities, he is dead and gone, along with all his brothers. Please let us now know whether Krishna is remembering his father and mother and his friends and companions in Vrindavana. Does he like to remember his cows, his gopis, his Govardhan hill, his pasturing ground in Vrindavana? Or has he forgotten all these now? Is there any possibility of his coming back to his friends and relatives so that we can again see his beautiful face with its raised nose and lotus-like eyes? We remember how he saved us from the forest fire, how he saved us from the great snake Kaliya in the Yamuna, how he saved us from so many other demons, and we simply think how much we are obliged to him for giving us protection in so many dangerous situations. My dear Uddhava, when we think of Krishna's beautiful face and eyes and his different activities here in Vrindavana, we become so overwhelmed that all our activities cease. We simply think of Krishna, how he used to smile and how he looked upon us. When we go to the banks of the Yamuna and other lakes of Vrindavana, or near Govardhan Hill, or the pasturing field, we see that the impressions of Krishna's footprints are still on the surface of the earth. We remember him playing in those places because he was constantly visiting them. When his appearance within our minds becomes manifest, we immediately become absorbed in thoughts of him. When his appearance within our minds becomes manifest, we immediately become absorbed in thought of him. So they're associating with Krishna, even though apparently he's absent. The Lord is absolute. So Nanda Maharaj continues to tell Uddhava, we think therefore that Krishna and Balaram may be chief demigods in heaven, who have appeared before us like ordinary boys in order to execute particular duties on earth. This was also foretold by Garga Muni when making Krishna's horoscope. If Krishna were not a great personality, how could he have killed Kamsa, who possessed the strength of 10,000 elephants? Besides Kamsa, there were very strong wrestlers, as well as the giant elephant Kuvalayapida. All these animals and demons were killed by him, just as a lion kills an ordinary animal. How wonderful it is that Krishna took in one hand the big, heavy bow made of 3 joined palm trees and broke it very quickly. How wonderful it is that continually for 7 days he held up Govardhan Hill in one hand. How wonderful it is that he has killed all the demons like Pralambasura, Dhenukasura, Arishtasura, Trinavarta, and Bakasura. They were so strong that even the demigods in the heavenly planets were afraid of them, but Krishna killed them as easily as anything. While describing the uncommon activities of Krishna before Uddhava, Nanda Maharaj gradually became overwhelmed and could not speak anymore. As for Mother Yashoda, she sat by the side of her husband and heard the pastimes of Krishna without speaking. She was simply crying incessantly, and milk was pouring from her breasts. When Uddhava saw Maharaj Nanda and Yashoda so extraordinarily overwhelmed with thoughts of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and when he experienced their extraordinary affection for him, he also became overwhelmed and began to speak as follows. My dear Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, you are most respectable among human beings, because no one but you can meditate in such transcendental ecstasy. Both Balaram and Krishna are the original personalities of Godhead, from whom the cosmic manifestation is emanating. They are chief among all personalities. Both of them are the effective cause of this material creation. Material nature is conducted by the Purusha incarnations, who are all acting under Krishna and Balaram. Does anybody know the 3 Purusha incarnations? The 3 Purusha incarnations that are the masters of this material universe and every material universe. There's not just one material universe. There are innumerable material universes, as you can see in that portrait opposite me, in the bottom right-hand corner. When Lord Mahavishnu, who is also known as Karunadakashaya Vishnu because he lies on the Karuna ocean, the causal ocean, when he breathes out, innumerable universes emanate from the pores of his skin. And when he breathes in, all of the universes enter into his body. In each universe there is a chief. His name is Lord Brahma, and he is a devotee of Krishna. He is not God, rather he is chief demigod, and he is entrusted with the work of creating all of the varieties of life and places within this universe. There was a reason I was mentioning Lord Brahma, and it's now popped out of my head. So, Karanodakashaya Vishnu, Karanodakashaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. He is the source of countless material universes. Oh yes. So Brahma lives for 100 years, 100 of his years, by his time perception. And those 100 years effectively equal 311 trillion Earth years. This is the known duration of the universe. Which means that when Lord Mahavishnu manifests the universes by his breath encapsulates 311 trillion years by our experience on earth. One breath of Mahavishnu. This Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and he enters into each universe, which is called Bhugola. Each universe is Bhugola, or Brahmanda. I meant Brahmanda. Bhugola refers to the earth. It can also refer to the universe because the earth is centrally placed. So, each universe is like an egg, Brahmanda, and this Vishnu enters into each Brahmanda as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Half of the universe is filled with water. He lies down in that water. And from this Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, a lotus stem is generated from his navel. And atop that lotus, Lord Brahma is born. Krishna gives birth. Garbhodakashaya gives birth to Lord Brahma without the help of any wife. Yes, he is not dependent on the ordinary course of intercourse in order to create a child. So, Lord Brahma is directly born from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And then this Garbhodakashaya Vishnu expands again as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. And he enters into every unit, every atom within the entire universe. And in this way, Krishna, in his Vishnu expansions, enters into everything. He's everywhere. But we don't see him because we don't have the eyes to see him. But he's even within our own hearts as the super soul. This Kshirodakashaya Vishnu is known as Antaryami, or Paramatma, super soul. And inside every body, there is a soul, a Jivatma, and there is a super soul, Paramatma. Two of us. The Jivatma is conscious of her own pains and pleasures, but the Paramatma is aware of the pains and the pleasures of everybody. And the difference is that the Paramatma has nothing to gain from being in this material world. He does not associate with this material energy. He does not strive for any result. He is simply the witness of the Jivatma's desires and efforts. The Paramatma witnesses our desires and he sanctions according to what we deserve. He helps us. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita personally that Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am situated in the heart of every living entity. And from me, he says, comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. We're completely dependent on this super soul to perform anything and to strive in any way at all. We're utterly dependent on super soul. But the super soul himself has nothing to strive for. So in this way, Krishna, in 3 Purusha incarnations, maintains the entire material creation with its countless universes. In 3 Vishnu expansions, he does this. And he maintains and protects and directs all of the living entities in their various endeavors, pursuits, desires. Yes, please ask.
I just missed something that you say 3 Vishnu.
3 Vishnu.
Bodhachai Vishnu, Shirodachai Vishnu, and which third one did you say?
Karanodakashayi. Karanodakashayi, which otherwise known as Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu.
Yes.
Yeah, so how are they different? Like, what do they do? And why are they different?
They're not different.
How are they?
They're the same personality of Godhead.
Okay.
Yes, all of the expansions of Krishna are Krishna, but they just manifest different degrees of his qualities. Yeah? Just like us, in different situations we will reveal more of what we're like, who we are, what our nature is. In certain situations we may be very formal and reserved. In other situations we might be very open and, revealing more of our nature. We might do this especially at home, with our close family members. So, Krishna, in all of his forms, including in the spiritual world, as Lord Narayana, he is one person. But these different expansions of the Lord have simply different functions. For Mahavishnu, who is absorbed in his yoga nidra, it's like a dream. This entire material creation is like the Lord's dream. So all of the universes emanate from his skin pores. Garbhodakashayi Vishnu generates Lord Brahma. Yeah? And Lord Brahma generates everything else after he receives the intelligence of creation from Lord Vishnu. And then Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, he is the supersoul in everyone's heart. Our acharyas also they equate these 3 Vishnus with the quadruple expansions of the Lord. Lord Mahavishnu can be understood in terms of, it's a little technical, but essentially we have Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. And these forms of the Lord have different moods. Sankarshana, Lord Sankarshana, is very much concerned with establishing identity, relationship. Yeah. Lord Pradyumna is the Lord of intelligence. Lord Aniruddha is the Lord of the mind. Yes. And Lord Vasudeva, he gets things done. But they're one person. Same person. Vishnu is Krishna. So material nature is conducted by the Purusha incarnations. who are all acting under Krishna and Balaram. Right? They are expansions of Krishna. So Balaram is also an expansion of Krishna. Balaram is Krishna's second body. Balaram is Krishna's immediate first expansion. So, in other words, the Lord, who is the master of innumerable material universes, is but an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. That's mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the beginning, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is glorifying Lord Nityananda, Lord Nityananda, as you know, is Balaram. Yes, and he represents the Lord in the form of, Krishna's immediate expansion. Devotional expansion. Let's just briefly read a couple of those verses. I just have to grab the CC from the shelf. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, here we go. Adi Leela, chapter 1. And after glorifying Lord Chaitanya and describing his identity and his purpose, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes Nityananda Prabhu, yes? In the blue garments above me, that is Nityananda Prabhu. He's Balaram. Just as Lord Chaitanya in the center is Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram. So, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says, "May Sri Nityananda Rama be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarsana, Sheshanaga, and the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean, right, Mahavishnu, Garbha ocean, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and ocean of milk, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu." Right? This Paramatma Supersoul, he also has his own place within each universe, Shvetadvip, where he lies on a milk ocean. So these three Vishnus, the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean, Garbha ocean, and ocean of milk, are his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions. Plenary means absolute, as good as, same as. Portion, part of. Expansion, expanded from. So, in other words, Lord Nityananda is the origin of these three Vishnus who generate the entire material creation. Next verse. I surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, who is known as Sankarsana in the midst of the Chaturvyuha, consisting of Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences, Lord Nityananda. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose partial representation, called Karanodakashaya Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, right, so this is referring to Mahavishnu, from whom all the universes come. Lying on the Karana ocean is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy and the shelter of all the universes. So, this Karanodakashaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu, who is the original Purusha, the master of Maya, the shelter of all the universes, is but a partial representation of Sri Nityananda Rama. So how great is, we think Gauranitai, Gauranitai, right? Playing the part of devotees. Gauranitai are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nityananda Prabhu is the source right? The origin of the Vishnus that generate the entire material creation. And not only that, he's generating all other Vishnu, all other Narayan forms in the spiritual world. I mean, they're all expanded from him. Yes. Did you have something?
Yes, I just wanted to know the reference that Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah. First chapter, Adi Lila, chapter 1, texts 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Text 10. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu sprouts the lotus that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. So again, he's establishing how Nityananda Prabhu is the source of Mahavishnu, now Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, who is the source of all of the planets, and Lord Brahma, by virtue of this lotus stem. And then finally, text 11. One of my favorite verses. Yasyam sham shamsha paratma kilanam. Poshta Vishnur Bhati Dugdhati Shayi Kshauni Bharta Yatkala Sopyanantas Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose secondary part is the Vishnu lying in the ocean of milk. That Kshirodakashaya Vishnu is the super soul of all living entities. All living entities. He is the super soul. And the maintainer of all the universes. This super soul maintains the universe and every universe. Sheshanaga is his further sub-part. So Lord Sheshanaga, right, who serves Lord Vishnu, is another expansion again. Yeah? When Krishna was being carried across the Yamuna by his father to bring him to safety in Gokula, then the Shesha Nag manifested with his various hoods, right, to protect the Lord, from the elements. Shesha Naga is his further whose further subpart? Nityananda Prabhu's subpart. Practically there is Krishna, who is Lord Chaitanya. There is Balaram, and immediately there's Balaram, Krishna's second body. Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram. Right? From Balaram, every other expansion of Godhead manifests. So Nityananda Prabhu is the origin of every incarnation, every expansion of Godhead. Right? Only Krishna is not. All of the Narayan forms in the Vaikuntha Lokas, right, they're all expanded from ultimately Balaram, right, through Mahasankarsana and Chaturvyuha. So, right, this is the glory of Lord Nityananda. Yeah? He is, Prabhu. He's the master. But he considers himself the servant of Lord Chaitanya. So we say he is Sevaka Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. He is Godhead who serves Godhead. Whereas Lord Krishna is really the only form of Godhead who is Sevya Bhagavan, the ultimate Supreme Personality of Godhead who is to be worshipped. Hare Krishna, you're welcome. Okay, where did we get to? Yes, material nature is conducted by the Purusha incarnations. Yes, these Purusha incarnations mean Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. These are the three Purusha incarnations of the Lord. Material nature is conducted by the Purusha incarnations, who are all acting under Krishna and Balaram. By their partial representation, they enter in the hearts of all living entities. This is Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, Super Soul. Right? They enter the hearts of all living entities. So the Super Soul is their partial representation. Part. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, what's the need of all this detailed knowledge? At the end of the 10th chapter. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire cosmic manifestation. By Super Soul. Super Soul is Krishna, but just a partial expansion. And this partial expansion is maintaining this entire universe and every other universe to boot. So by Krishna and Balaram's partial expansion, they enter in the hearts of all living entities. They are the source of all knowledge and all forgetfulness also, right? Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From me, Krishna says, comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And prior to that line, he says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. I am situated in the heart of all living entities. Sure.
There's a glass.
Okay. I am situated in the heart of all living entities. Because of me, in the heart of all living entities, as Antaryami, Paramatma, they are able to know something, remember something, and forget something. And that is all. Prabhupada says here, they are the source of all knowledge and all forgetfulness also. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter. I am present in everyone's heart, and I cause one to remember and to forget. I am the original compiler of the Vedanta, and I am the actual knower of the Vedas. So when Prabhupada said, yes, God is great, but you should know how God is great. Well, this is how. When we understand how great the Lord is, then we will not make a mistake of thinking that He is, a regular boy just enjoying with some girls. That is a mistake. And Krishna is the possessor of all energies, and He is the supreme enjoyer. Srila Prabhupada continues. Did you have something? Anything? No? Okay. Anybody has any thoughts, reflections, questions? No? If, at the time of death, a person can fix his pure mind upon Krishna, even for a moment, he becomes eligible to give up this material body and appear in his original spiritual body, just as the sun rises with all illumination. Okay, here's a question for you. Who would like to be eligible to give up this material body and appear in your original spiritual body, just as the sun rises with all illumination? Passing from his life in this way, he immediately enters into the spiritual kingdom Vaikuntha. This is the result of Krishna conscious practice. How does that sound? Right? So many problems we have. Right? We all know very well, each of us, various problems. Everyone's problems are their problems. Oh my God. Experienced very much in the mind. Yeah? Pardon?
We even get attached to our problems.
Attached to our problems, right. Yeah. We don't even, Let me keep my problems. I like my problems. So it's possible that all your problems can be just, wiped out. I was just listening today, Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and he was saying how Parikshit Maharaj was given 7 days notice of death. And he therefore took it very seriously, this Shravanam of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's how he spent his final 7 days. That was the best thing he could do. On the advice of Srila Shukadeva Goswami and other sages. That was the recommended process for preparing for death. Sit down and absorb yourself in topics of Krishna as narrated in Srimad Bhagavatam. So he had 7 days. Srila Prabhupada says, you don't know if you have 7 minutes. So how much more serious should you be to hear Srimad Bhagavatam? We're thinking, hey, I have my whole life, right? And if I'm middle-aged, I have, a few decades. Maybe if I'm at my older age, I'm thinking, I've still got a few years. I've still got plenty of years left. You don't know if you have 7 minutes. Some devotees were killed in a car accident on the way from what Prabhupada was speaking in that lecture. Yeah? Devotees were killed in a car accident recently at that time. They did not know. So this should be taken very seriously. We should be careful to utilize our time well, not waste it. But we think we've got all the time in the world. And then what kind of thinking will we be doing at the time of death? What will we be thinking of? Well, that will very much depend on what has consumed our thoughts throughout our life. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. Right? Whatever you think of at the time of death, that will determine your next body. So, I asked the question, who would like to be eligible to give up this material body and appear in his original spiritual body just as the sun rises with all illumination? All your problems gone. The mirage is evaporated. The bubble is burst. The dream is dispelled. Well, it's possible. If, at the time of death, a person can fix his pure mind upon Krishna, even for a moment. If at the time of death, somehow or other, we're able to fix the mind upon Krishna, then this wonderful, instantaneous salvation is possible. Of course, I say instantaneous. What it means is that you will go to Krishna. Generally, you'll go to a particular universe where Krishna is manifesting his Leela and take part with him. Yeah? Passing from his life in this way, he immediately enters into the spiritual kingdom, Vaikuntha. So wherever the Lord appears in the material world, that is Vaikuntha. This is the result of Krishna conscious practice. If we practice Krishna consciousness in this present body while we are in a healthy condition and in good mind, simply by chanting the holy Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, we will have every possibility of fixing our mind upon Krishna at the time of death. What else is there to do, really? Anything else that we absorb ourselves in, it's for naught. It's all for naught. It amounts to zero. Really? What stays? Name me one thing that stays in this world. Name me one investment that stays. Even your material body will not stay for any more than a few decades. I hesitate to use the word stupid, but it's pretty accurate. How foolish are we investing in so many temporary things? Thinking that, right, this is a good investment. This is for my happiness. How utterly foolish we are, being influenced by Krishna's illusory energy. The only real useful investment is in our relationship with God. So if we practice Krishna consciousness in this present body, while we are in a healthy condition and in good mind, simply by chanting the holy Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, we will have every possibility of fixing our mind upon Krishna at the time of death. Every possibility. Because you have to practice. You can't just hope to show up at the moment of death and wing it. It may work for certain events in the material world, but boy oh boy, at the time of death, when you're very disturbed, you can appreciate this if you're in a dangerous situation, right? I mean, personally speaking, going into an operating theater and thinking, wow, I really hope this goes well. Or your daughter puts you on the biggest roller coaster in the UK and there's only a metal bar holding your life together, and you're thinking, I really hope this goes well, and I could be in trouble here if something is not quite right. In a dangerous situation, you're thinking, oh boy, I don't think I'm ready to die. I don't think I'm going to be able to handle it if I'm forced to separate from this body. Fearful, ridden with anxiety, stressed out to the max. I mean, do we think that death is going to be some kind of cakewalk? Right? You'd be stressed out to the max. And what will the mind conjure? It will conjure all kinds of things that you're attached to. Your mommy, your beloved, your little child, and you'll just look for any resting place for shelter. So, without practicing making Krishna your shelter, what hope do you have to remember Krishna at the time of death? We must practice depending on Krishna throughout life, so that we have any hope whatsoever of thinking of Him at the very, very stressful moment of death. When we are stressed out to the max. Of course, if we're practiced to be Krishna conscious, then there's every chance we won't be stressed out to the max. But don't bank on it being an easy. It's serious business, Prabhupada says everything will be tested at the time of death. Tested. Right, just like that parrot. You can train a parrot. We learned yesterday how Krishna in school, he learned how to train parrot to talk in human language. So you can get the parrot to chant, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You can get the parrot to chant. But as soon as you grab, someone takes that parrot by the throat, right? He'll be, there will be no Hare Krishna. So let's not be pseudo-absorbed in Krishna like that. So, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and then at the time of the death, we're not Hare Krishna, we're, Mommy! Practice, serious practice, taking shelter of Krishna, depending on the Lord, absorbing our thoughts in Krishna. And Prabhupada has left us so many wonderful books to become utterly absorbed in Krishna. You can spend your whole life reading Prabhupada's books. He has given us so much that there's not 1 inch of space available to space out. If you want it, if you want Krishna, you can be absorbed in Krishna. He's given us so much material that practically in our lifetime we can't get through it. His books, his lectures, and this holy name. If Prabhupada says, if that is done, Right, fixing our mind on Krishna at the time of death. If that is done, then our life becomes successful without any doubt. Similarly, if we keep our mind always absorbed in fruitive activities for material enjoyment, then naturally at the time of death we shall think of such activities, and again be forced to enter into a material, conditioned body to suffer the threefold miseries of material existence. And we might think, well, that's not so bad, right? I have some things to wrap up here. I have a few desires, some plans that I would like to complete. Yeah? It's important to me. Okay. You must be forgetting about all of the hellish moments that you have endured in this life and in previous lives. Yeah. Conveniently forgotten all about all of those hellish moments, right? Where you're just begging for the pain to stop. And we think, I could do it again, for my business idea or whatever. So, let's take it seriously. It's no joke. Maya's influence is such that we forget. Therefore, to remain always absorbed in Krishna consciousness was the standard of the inhabitants of Vrindavana, as exhibited by Maharaj Nanda, Yashoda, and the gopis. If we can simply follow their footsteps, even to a minute proportion, our lives will surely become successful, and we will enter into the spiritual kingdom, Vaikuntha. Right, always absorbed in Krishna. Maharaj Kulashekara, he prays, now that I'm in sound body and mind, now that I have functioning faculties, let my mind simply be absorbed in the lotus stem network of Krishna's lotus feet. Like a swan. Because when I'm old and the body is breaking down and the mind is failing me, I can't rescue the situation at that time. Just like, I've had relatives who at a certain point, they became mentally ill. And to the degree that they don't recognize their own family members. They don't remember, who they are, where they've been, what they've done. So while we're fit, young, healthy, can concentrate, focus, absorb our thoughts, then we must do this, we must practice this, because that will help us very much. And Srila Prabhupada said that even if, due to circumstances, you forget Krishna at the time of death, Krishna will not forget you. Right? If you have dedicated so much of your life to the Lord's happiness, to His service, Krishna will not forget you. So Prahlad Maharaj says, I need to brush up on that verse. How does it go? Anyway, he says that this Krishna consciousness should be practiced from the Kaumara age. From childhood. Okay, we're going to have Bhagavad Gita class in a few moments. Does anyone else have any thoughts, feelings, or reflections, questions? No? Anyone disagree? I'm missing a good fight. Hare Krishna. Okay, so until the Vyasasana is occupied, we'll just read a little more. This is Uddhava speaking. So Uddhava has come to Vrindavan to deliver a message to the gopis. This is a favor that Lord Krishna did Uddhava. He wanted Uddhava to see the exalted Krishna consciousness of the residents of Vrindavan. Uddhava says, "My dear mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, you have thus fixed your minds wholly and solely upon that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, in his transcendental form, the cause of impersonal Brahman. The Brahman effulgence is only the bodily ray of Narayana, and because you are always absorbed in ecstatic thought of Krishna and Balaram, what activity remains to be performed by you? I have brought a message from Krishna to the effect that he will soon come back to Vrindavana and satisfy you both by his personal presence. Krishna promised that he would come back to Vrindavan after finishing his business in Mathura. This promise he will surely fulfill. I therefore request you both, who are the best among all fortunates, to be not aggrieved on account of Krishna's absence. So we'll continue on probably Tuesday from this chapter.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming. Hare Krishna. So we'll have, as Prabhu said before, we'll have a Bhagavad Gita class now. And so yeah, if you'd like to join them, please do feel free to stay. We'll start by singing a bhajan called Jai Radha Madhava. We all come from different places, and it's always nice to come to kind of set the tone of why we're here. So we'll sing Jai Radha Madhava first, and yeah, we can go from there. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari 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 Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Siravanachari Yamuna Siravanachari Yamuna Siravanachari Yamuna Siravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Radhe Radhe Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman 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 Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Shila Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Shila Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Chakacharya Astu Tarsata His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sakho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Priyad Madanga Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. O glorious to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. O glorious to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. O glorious to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. O glorious to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Okay, so we'll be reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 35. So I'll just read out the Sanskrit, and if anyone would like to join in, no, that's okay. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamsayan Mahabaho Manodur Nirgraham Shalam Abhyasena Tukunteya Varagyena Chagriyate Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamsaya Mahabaho Manodurnigram Chalam Abhyasena Tukunteya Varagyena Chagriyate. Would anyone like to recite the verse? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamsayama baho Manodo nigraham chalam Abhyasena tukonteya Varagyena chagriyate. Anyone else like to have a go? If not, that's okay. No? Okay. I'll just read the word for word translation. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the personality of Godhead said, Asamsayam, undoubtedly, Mahabaho, O great, O mighty armed one, Mana, the mind, Durnigraham, difficult to curb, Chalam, flickering, Abhyasena, by practice, 2, but, Kunteya, O son of Kunti, Varagyena, by detachment, Cha, also, Griyate, can be controlled, can be so controlled. Okay, then translation. Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty aunt, son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Purport. The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind as expressed by Arjuna is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the supersoul, restraining the senses in the mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to activities of Krishna. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called Parishanubhava, spiritual satisfaction. It's just like the feeling of satisfaction of a hungry man. It's just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Simply by discharging devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for the mad mind. And eating the foodstuff offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. Om Jnana Timrandasya Kinanjana Shalakaya Jakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutade Saim Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Pre Panchakalpaturubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you all for coming. I know there's many other things that people can be doing on a Friday evening, so thank you for coming to Bhaktivedanta Manor. And we'll try to have some discussion today on this verse. And yeah, it's a very appropriate topic for many of us, how to control the mind. And so, yeah, we can try and discuss what Srila Prabhupada says and yeah, just try to expand on that in some way. So, I guess the first thing that stood out when I was reading this this verse was, yeah, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes his point on in the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulation of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the super soul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy. So usually when we think of controlling the mind, we think of having to go through yoga practices, austerities, all these kind of difficult things that usually people have to go through. And I was just thinking about my own life, and I was thinking how I remember there was a time where I would try to practice this kind of controlling of the mind and through yoga practice and everything. But the interesting thing I found was that every kind of system out there that gives some way of controlling the mind, actually, what actually happens is you're able to get to some place of control, but there's no inner stability. There's no shelter in that place, and so even when one engages in some activity, maybe yoga or something like this, what happens is during that period of time they may come to some steadiness within their mind where their mind doesn't flicker so much. But when they're away from that space, what then happens? What then happens is that that the mind goes back to where it was going before. It's not able to be in that controlled state, that settled state where it was during that practice. And so it's actually very difficult to practice any of these things. And so then I wanted to kind of think more about what is actually the root of the disturbance in the mind, because we all experience disturbance of the mind in so many different ways. But then the question is, what's actually the root of it? You know, it's like... There's this example that a lot of the cures out there that people are giving for the mind, actually, they're like, it's like if you have a problem. Yeah, let's give an example of a medicine. A lot of the medicines that we have in this world, they don't actually cure the root of the problems, isn't it? A lot of the times they're just pain reliefs. They don't actually get to the root of the problems, but there's something to basically sugarcoat the problem so that for the time being we can forget about the pain of the problem, but underlying it's still there. So similarly, a lot of the practices that are given, like yoga practices and these things, it's not that they can't give some help and bring us to a slight peaceful state, but they never actually get to the root of the problem. And so actually, what is the root of the problem? The root of the problem is actually that this whole material world has been designed simply for one reason, and the simple reason is that because of this desire in our heart to want to live separately from the Lord then creates a situation where we can live separately from Him. And because we have this desire to want to live separately from the Lord, He gives us a place where we can do that very easily. He gives us this material world where we can be so engaged in our own lives that we can forget Krishna completely. And this is what has happened in the world. Everyone's forgotten God. And it's gone so deep, that forgetfulness has gone so deep, that now even just to say God, to say that someone believes in God, is shocking. Most people are atheists. They may say they have some faith, but actually a lot of people are atheists deep down. And so it's such a deep-rooted desire and forgetfulness that's happened, that over lifetimes and lifetimes that we've built this up, and then the question is, how do we revert that? And so this point on desire is so important, because we have these deep-rooted desires of wanting to live separately from the Lord. So then Krishna says, then what is the root of this problem? So in the 15th chapter of the Gita, Krishna describes there's a banyan tree. He describes this banyan tree, and he says that this material world is basically like it's reflected in the water, so you have this reflection in the water. And what is the root of a tree? What's the thing that starts the growth of a tree? It's a seed, no? It all starts from a seed. And so similarly in our bhakti scriptures, it says that this a seed has the kind of not relevance, what's the word I'm looking for? It has the comparison to a desire. Okay? In another scripture it says that that we're all given this, when we come in touch with Krishna consciousness or devotional service, we're given this bhakti lata bija, this bija which is a seed of bhakti, and what it does is it enters into everyone's heart, and then it's our duty to then grow it. Anyway, so Krishna basically says that the root of the material world, the root of this world that we created separate from Krishna, what that we're experiencing now, is actually desire. And so that same desire can be reverted, And so the question is, how is that desire changed? Because desire is actually the root of the problems of the mind. As Srila Prabhupada says here, he says, this is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. So right now we're actually getting to the root of the problem. So the root of the problem is these deep-rooted desires and how to get rid of them. And so then in another scripture called the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse which describes that Shrimvatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayanoti Bhadrani. Anyway, the essence of the verse is that one who engages in hearing about Krishna, what happens is that Krishna from within the heart, he cleanses all these material desires that are actually seated within the heart, that are causing us these disturbances in the mind. And he cleanses all these desires because one is engaged in what? One is engaged in hearing about him. He sees that this jiva, this person, they actually have an interest in me. It's just like a relationship. It's like if you want to get to know someone, you want to hear about them, isn't it? You'll look them up on the internet. You'll try to see, okay, what do they do? How do they deal with their friends? How do they deal with their family? All these things. So by this, you can then understand what is actually this person. Who is this person? And so similarly, when we engage in hearing about Krishna, this is what happens. And then I was just thinking of this example. It's an interesting example because it links nicely to devotional service in the sense that how is it that you go from, how does hearing become a route to remove the mind's things? And I was just thinking about how it works for us. I was just thinking, even if you think about anything in this world, anything after you hear something, what do you generally do after hearing about something? Usually you just speak about it to someone, doesn't it? You would hear about it, and then after some time you may just speak about it to someone. And so then after that, what usually happens is once you've spoken about it, then you start to remember about it, isn't it? When you're away from that space, you'll start to think about that same thing. And so similarly, that Srila Prabhupada is saying that has, there's these different activities of 9 types of devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada is saying the first is Shravanam, hearing about Krishna. And then you have Kirtanam, which is speaking or glorifying Krishna. And then after that is Smaranam, which is remembrance of Krishna. And so remembrance is where it comes into the state of the mind. And so that's where the mind is taken over, It's not that the mind is now disturbed by all these aspects, but then the mind is actually at peace because it's always remembering Krishna. And so this links nicely because later in the Gita, Krishna says that in a very famous verse, Krishna says in, 1865, he says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishasi satyam te pratijani priyoshi me. So that So he's talking to Arjuna, he says that become my devotee. He says, become my devotee, offer all your obeisances unto me. And in this way you will reach me. And then in the next verse, in 1865, he says, 1866, he says, just surrender everything to me, and I will take care of you. I'll remove all the sinful reactions that you've done in many previous lives, and I'll protect you. So just depend on me. And so actually, this is nice because what it describes is that everyone in the world is trying to control their mind by their own means, but the devotee isn't doing it by his own means. The devotee is doing it by Krishna's means. He's relying on God's strength and God's power. He's depending on Krishna to control his mind. He's not relying on his own strength to be able to control his mind. So actually it's completely reverting the whole way of thinking about controlling the mind, because usually we're thinking that, okay, I have to be like this, I have to do this. But actually that's not what Krishna's saying. Krishna's essence is saying that actually you can't do any of these things on your own strength. You can make your endeavor, and that's great, but then within that you have to depend on me. You have to understand that I'm in control, and ultimately I'm the only one who can actually help you. And this is very wonderful because, Srila Prabhupada says in this purple, he says, Srila Prabhupada says that, he says, what does he say? By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from material engagement of the mind and in spirit. And so, I was just thinking about this as well. It's like, what is actually the mind searching for? What is actually the mind searching for when we actually look at it at root? It's actually searching for a place of satisfaction. Is looking for some fulfillment, isn't it? Why is it that it's so turbulent all the time? Why is it unsteady? Why is it not fulfilled? It's actually looking for a place where it can be steady and secure. And so actually that place is lying in Krishna. In a verse in the Shikshashtakam, a famous prayer is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it describes the glories of the chanting of the holy name. And one of the final glories it says is that it describes that you, by chanting the holy name, the nectar for which we are always anxious for, that's what the holy name can give. By chanting, that we were just doing before, it can actually give this fullness in the heart. This fullness in the heart, because when there's a full heart, the mind won't actually be disturbed. And the mind is then situated in the spirit. And so what's the difference between spirit and matter? Right now we're so much engaged in matter, isn't it? Everything we perceive, everything we look at, everything we experience, either in our mind, is all just matter. And it's so deep that we can't even perceive anything beyond matter. But actually what's being said is that there's a spiritual world. There's a spiritual world in which we can live in. And what it says is that the spiritual world actually resides within the heart of every living entity. That there's a spiritual world right there, just waiting for us to enter. And so then the question is, how is it that this is awakened? And Srila Prabhupada again says hearing. And it's so wonderful because Krishna is so kind, because he's given so much subject matter to hear about. We're not struggling for subject matter. There's enough subject matter to hear about. And Krishna's come in so many different incarnations. We say this prayer, Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu. Why is he so kind and merciful? One of the reasons is because he's come in so many different incarnations, repeatedly, again and again and again, just to petition to us that, hey, living entity, please turn back to me. And not just that, but the activities are so absorbing and they're so wonderful that they just capture the mind. Isn't it? And so when we start to engage in this hearing process, it becomes, as Srila Prabhupada says, the more one becomes enlightened, one actually feels that, oh, that's actually where my real world is. I don't need to take what's going on so seriously in this world, but I know my real world is somewhere else. I know I'm not actually part of this world. I'm actually part of a different world. And so this is what we're looking for, actually. And so I would just speak on a couple of pastimes actually which are nice, which kind of try to illustrate this distinction between practice of controlling the mind by yoga or some means, versus this practice of hearing about Krishna. And so there's an example in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this pastime, it's Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. And so Srila Prabhupada, so in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a pastime of a great Muni, and what this Muni does is he's lying in the water of the Yamuna river, of the Yamuna lake, and what he's doing, he's practicing a meditation, and where he's there, he's practicing this meditation. He's there for many, many years, and he's practicing some yoga, and then what happens is he becomes agitated. And this is very, very funny, because funny in the sense that it's so what's the word I'm looking for? You wouldn't think that a great Muni or sage would be agitated by this, but what happens is he sees two fish mating, and then by seeing that he becomes agitated by lusty desires, and by this he then leaves his practice that he's been practicing for so long, and not just that, then he goes and gets married, but to many, many wives. And he has to go through an experience where he experiences, because he's a great sage and a great Muni, what happens is he's able to use his powers that he's gained to become a very young person. And by becoming this young person, what happens is that he then marries the most beautiful women. And then when he marries the most beautiful women, he tries to enjoy himself to the greatest degree. And so this is what happens when there's a practice like Srila Prabhupada saying that in this age no one can do these things of going to a sacred place, focusing the mind, and the reason is because there's no tangible satisfaction in that practice that can hold one. It's very, very difficult to hold on in that place, because ultimately, as the scriptures say, that Anandamaya Bhiyashat, that we're all seeking pleasure, and so if there's no pleasure that's there, how can one actually continue? It's impossible. And so similarly, the great Muni, he goes and then has to go seek for pleasure somewhere after some time. And so then he goes and tries to enjoy himself, but after some time he realizes he's completely frustrated. He's completely frustrated. And then in this frustration, what happens is he realizes, however, he comes to his senses and says, what am I doing? Why have I done this? I've completely left all my practice and I've gone somewhere else, a completely different direction. Why would I do that? And so then on this account, he basically realizes that I have to go back and I have to become more serious. And this is very wonderful, because many people say that this is, there's obviously one lesson here we're saying about how the yoga practice in itself, it doesn't give this relief of the material desires. It's still underlying there like a current. But what's actually said is there's some nice points to it, because it says that the reason actually that he actually went in this way, the reason that he experienced this was actually because he'd made an offense to a great devotee. So previously what happened was a great devotee, Garuda, who's a carrier of Lord Vishnu, he would come, and because he was a bird, he was an eagle, he would eat fish. And it's not that we're propagating that, but it's just because in that state he was able to, that was his natural food, if that makes some sense. And so he would go and eat fish, Garuda, and what would happen was once when he was doing it, Subhari Muni, the great Muni, he said that he basically cursed Garuda to say that who is he eating the fish, he's disturbing everyone. And so he decided to kind of make a curse basically of Garuda. And because Garuda's a great devotee, what happened was the Lord was there. The Lord's always with his devotees and can't look otherwise other than his devotee. And so then what happened was the reason why Subhari Muni actually left his practice was because he made this offense. And so we may hear about offenses and things and maybe scared, but the root of an offense is to basically be disrespectful, insensitive to someone, you know. And because Subara Muni was insensitive and thought that he, you know, was a person who had the power to curse someone else, then because of that he was then actually implicated in this difficult situation. So it ended up being his own curse from Garuda that he actually went down this path. But there's another technicality which is very sweet, because ultimately in the Bhagavad Gita it says that Krishna is what? He is the cause of all causes. You know? Everything, not a blade of grass can move without Krishna's hand and sanction. And what's the desire of Krishna for every living entity is ultimately to come back to him and come to a state of love to him. And so even behind curses and difficulties that one may experience in this case and in our own lives, actually we should always try to see, how is this Krishna calling me back? How is this the Lord's hand calling me back in every situation? And so what happened was, it actually describes in this pastime that although the Muni had to go through so many difficulties in his life, he had to go through this, trying to enjoy the material world after, and then going back. What it said that actually he was able to come back so much quicker to the Lord because he perfected his life by the end of that life. Rather, if he'd carried on practicing his own spiritual practice, he probably wouldn't have been able to perfect his life. So actually, this whole incident, although it seems so complex and so many intricacies behind it, actually the Lord was behind it all the whole time. And we experience that so much. We experience that there's this situation in this life, basically this world is just a place of so many complexities. So many complexities. So many difficult situations, so many things going on which are completely beyond imagination a lot of the time. And then the question is, what's going on here? And the more you try to understand what's going on, the more you get confused. and so what actually happens is that if we can have this underlying understanding that this faith, that actually Krishna is behind this, the Lord is somehow calling me behind it. I may not be able to see it or understand it, but with that faith and understanding, we try to see the world through that lens. And then life doesn't become it becomes actually quite relishable. Because you're seeing that behind every situation, behind every interaction, there's someone calling me back through this. And the more we become in touch with that, the more we become in touch with that reasoning, then we experience joy in every situation. And it's really wonderful because we're speaking about the mind here. And in another verse, Krishna says about how the mind could be the worst enemy or the best friend. And it's very interesting because actually one thing that I found is that actually the more the mind becomes the best friend, you can be in any situation. It's actually not the external world that's governing our experience at all. It's not the external world that's governing our experience. It's actually just the mind, and it's where the mind is. And this is a crazy thing to say, because if we could just grasp this point and really go into it deeply, if we really understood that it's not the external situation, it's not what's happening to us, it's none of these things, but it's just the mind that's causing our experience, then we can actually see that actually our life can be beautiful and wonderful if we can just see Krishna everywhere. And so actually what Srila Prabhupada is saying is that we're actually looking for this love, we're looking for this prema. Lord Chaitanya came to give Prema Pumarta Mahan, which is this love which is seated within the heart of every living entity. And he came to give this love. And so actually this is the satisfaction that we're all looking for in our heart, this love. And so it's actually not peace of mind that we're all looking for. But Krishna is so kind here that he's speaking on the level of the mind. He's speaking, and if you look at the Gita, it's very wonderful, because ultimately Krishna wants to come to a stage. Hare Krishna. Krishna wants to bring us to a stage of just wanting to love him and hear about him. But it's like, for example, if let's give this example. It's like a sales pitch. Have you ever had? It's not have you ever had. We all have had, where people try and sell you something, and they'll try to give you as many different reasons as possible, just so that you can take what they want. Ultimately, they have a different motive a lot of the time, because they may sell you this, they may get some commission and all these things on it, but they're trying to give you all the reasons that, it'll save you time, and they're trying to be, externally it looks like you're, a well-wisher, but ultimately they just want, the money. But Krishna's a bit like that as well, but he's a different type like that, in the sense that he's telling you, hey, like, look, by doing this practice, you'll be able to control your mind really well, and it's going to be wonderful. But Krishna's goal isn't for you to control your mind. His goal isn't for you to actually control your mind. His actual desire is that you come to him and you develop love for him. So it's actually the way he's tricking us to come to him. Because in this world, the mind is a problem for who? Everyone. You can't name one person who says to them, oh yeah, my mind is fine every single day, I don't have problems with it. And if they say that now, give it 10 years time and let's see. Yeah. So the point is that Krishna is trying to meet us where we're at, which is so kind and so wonderful. That this Lord, he's in Goloka Vrindavan, he's in the spiritual world with his associates. But not just that, but he's here down on the earth with each and every one of us as well. It describes that when Krishna left in Dwapara Yuga, that he also came in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He was still there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And not just that, he also says that Krishna avatar, that Krishna in this age, he's descended as the holy name. He's come in the form of his holy name. So that means he understands each and every one of us where we're at. And just if we sincerely turn to him, any moment, he's willing to reciprocate with us. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful, this process. And so it's very nice, actually. There's a nice verse in it. It describes how it's tomorrow is the one of I think it's the appearance of Sita Devi. And so it's very nice. There's a verse. I'll see if I can find it. But it's by Lord Ramachandra. And Lord Ramachandra says that, let me see if I can find it. Sorry. Oh, okay. Okay, I can't find it. Anyway, the essence of the verse is, it describes how Lord Ramachandra says that if anyone basically turns to me, just one time and sincerely surrenders unto me, I give that person all support to come to me. Just once sincerely turn to him. There's a really wonderful pastime in this where Lord Ramachandra, what happens is he's deciding whether he should accept Sugriva. Is it Sugriva? Who's Ravana's Vibhishan? Yes, thank you. He's deciding whether he should accept Vibhishan. And so he goes around and asks everyone, should I accept Vibhishan? Should I trust him? Because Vibhishan's come from Ravana, Ravana's, his camp. So should we trust him or not? And so he goes around and asks, everyone, and a lot of people are saying, no, we can't trust him. And then Lord Ramachandra says that even if Ravana just once sincerely turned to me, I would accept him. It's so wonderful. How kind is the Lord that we're dealing with? Whoever you are, wherever you're at, if you just sincerely turn to him, he'll give you all protection. Although that protection, it may come in a different way. As we saw in this pastime of Subari Muni, he had to go through difficulties. It wasn't that his path was easy, but the Lord was there the whole time behind the scenes, just wanting to bring him back. So it's so wonderful, this process. And I just end as a pastime about the glories of hearing, as Srila Prabhupada is stating here. So we saw how in practicing yoga, this trying to control it by our own means, it doesn't so much work, and you can be a great muni, have all these austerities, but ultimately won't come through. But there's a lovely pastime in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam where there is it's a pastime where there are these wives of brahmanas. So these brahmanas, they're very expert in performing Vedic rituals, sacrifices, and then they have wives, and their wives are very simple, and so it describes how the wives, when they were kind of growing up, they would go to Vrindavan, and they would sometimes associate with the residents of Vrindavan, and they'd overhear the residents of Vrindavan speaking about Krishna. They would overhear, just like sometimes when you're at the shop, or you may hear some gossip, like, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. So similarly, the residents of Vrindavan who were so absorbed in Krishna, their gossip was about Krishna. So it's very wonderful. And so what was said here was that the Brahmana's wives, they went there, so they would hear about Krishna, and just by this hearing, they became so attached to Krishna. They became so attached to Krishna, but no one externally knew about it. And so then what happened was when Krishna and Balaram, they just killed a demon, and after they killed a demon, they were in that same vicinity. And Krishna, because he's in the heart of every single living entity, he knows everything that's going on. And because his pastimes are so wonderful, everything is arranged in such wonderful ways, so that one pastime will lead to another. One pastime will lead to another, and then lead to another. And everything is so perfectly orchestrated. And this is so wonderful because one of the descriptions of Krishna is that he's perfect and complete. And what that means is also that because Krishna is perfect and complete, the way he's arranged each and every one of our lives is perfect and complete. Every one of our lives is perfect and complete. It's just a matter of our perception of that. So Krishna then, he comes, he says to his friends, it's very sweet exchange, because his coward boyfriends, they say to Krishna, like, oh, we're feeling very hungry. And one can see that in a very innocent way and say, oh, why is it the coward boys would be hungry? And that, these coward boys, they're meant to be great souls, pure devotees. Why are they going to Krishna saying they're hungry? And in the descriptions, it says that the reason the coward boys are hungry is because they actually feel that, oh, Krishna might be hungry right now. And because they feel that Krishna might be hungry, they think that, okay, if I pretend that I'm hungry, then what can happen is Krishna will go and do this. Because they know they have complete faith that Krishna loves them so much. And because they know that Krishna loves them so much, if they pretend that they're hungry, Krishna will then organize everything. So they pretend they're hungry so that Krishna will then organize everything, because they want Krishna to eat. And so what happens is, Krishna then says, okay, yes, go nearby. There's some brahmanas there nearby, they're performing a sacrifice. You go ask them, you can get some food. And it's a very, very sweet exchange, because Krishna describes that, okay, yes, you go. Krishna, you go and say that Balaram, the Supreme Lord, is here, and then also mention me as well. And so this is also a very sweet thing, because why is this sweet? It's very sweet because Krishna's putting who first? He's putting Lord Balaram first. He's putting his devotee first. And he's saying, okay, also mention me. I'm not so significant. Even though he's the Lord of all lords, everything's coming from him. But he's so humble. This is the Lord we're trying to fall in love with. He's so humble that actually he's willing to give all credit to his devotee and say his devotee is more important than me. So Krishna says, oh, say Lord Balaram's here. And then also mention me as well. So the boys go, the coward boys go. And then what happens is, after the coward boys go, the great brahmanas, they completely ignore the coward boys. Completely ignore the coward boys. And the reason it's funny is because one could be performing the right activities, but for the completely wrong purpose. One could perform the right activities for the completely wrong purpose. And what that leads to, because the goal of the brahmanas is what? The goal of the brahmanas, all their sacrifices, is to reach the Lord. And the Lord is coming right there, and they're completely ignoring the Lord. So this is so wonderful and so amazing, because it actually just shows as well, this whole world is governing by our intention and sincerity and purpose. And this is such a big thing, because everything in the world, one may say something is good or bad. Objectively, nothing is necessarily good or bad. It's actually how it is used. It's simply about how it is used. And this is why, even if you just look at everything that's going on in the world, it's such a big thing, because say, for example, people may say power is a bad thing. Power is not a bad thing. If the intention of the person with power is actually to be of great welfare for each and every person, that power is the best thing that could happen. Because they could orchestrate everything in the best way for everyone. So it's not actually anything in this world, but it's simply the heart of the person. Why are they using it? And ultimately, they can only answer that. They can only answer why they're actually doing all these things. And so they'd completely forgotten their purpose of why they were doing this. And so then what happened was the cowboys came back to Krishna and said, they just completely ignored us, what should we do? And so then Krishna then said, okay, go to their wives. Go to their wives because they're my great devotees. Even though they'd never met Krishna, they'd only heard about Krishna, but still they were so attached to him. And so then they went to the Brahmin's wives, and immediately, and it's again, there's a very sweet nuance to this pastime, because it says in one of the purports that Krishna says that don't tell them that I'm hungry. Because why is that? This is how sensitive the Lord is. Don't tell them that I'm hungry, because if you tell them that I'm hungry, they'll become more anxious. He's so sensitive to how his devotees feel, how all of us feel, that he doesn't want any anxiety to happen, to arouse in the heart. So he says to them, don't actually tell them that I'm hungry. Just say that we want food. That's all, that we're here and we've just come for some food. So, please help us. So they go anyway, the cowboys. And when the cowboys go, they then say, immediately the Brahmin's wives, they give the food. They prepare everything, all 4 kinds of food, and they run. This is the opportunity. This is what they've been meditating on their whole lives, so they run. So this is also an interesting point, because everyone thinks in this world that we're looking for peace of mind. But actually, we're not looking for peace of mind. Our actually ultimate objective is to become so absorbed, so much in love, that we can't forget the Lord. We're becoming so absorbed in something else, another world. The reason right now we're looking for peace is because we've experienced such a devastating condition in this material world again and again. So right now it's like, if I can get a bit of peace, this is my bliss. And that's the sad thing, because we've forgotten there's actually a positive happiness that one can experience within the heart. Paramdrisvara Nirvajate, there's a higher taste, there's a high experience that one can have. And so the Brahmin's wives, they go, they run to see the Lord, and so in this way, this is just anyway, I could carry on, but I think I should probably stop. But this is the potency of hearing about the Lord. That just by hearing about the Lord, that all these misgivings, all these difficulties of the mind that are there, they can be removed very easily. And one can experience genuine satisfaction in the heart, like Srila Prabhupada saying, the more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. And then one doesn't need to go to all these external things so much. So I'll just stop there and just see if there were any questions or comments on this verse about the mind, or any criticisms. So yeah, please, was there any comments, criticisms, or questions from anyone? That's a question. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's a really wonderful question. So there's different ways to answer it. Ultimately, we can't know. We can't know whether it is our karma or Krishna's hand directly. But the person who's the person who's sanctioning the karma? I'm sure you know who's the person who sanctions the karma. Is Krishna. Krishna's within the heart giving the fruits. So ultimately the cause of all causes is Krishna. But how this can work is that because Krishna, he desires the devotee to come to him. So it depends on also where that person is at. How surrendered the person is, but that person will experience their karma. It's like, for example, if you have torrents of rain falling down on someone, how much have they taken shelter? This pastum of Govardhan Hill, I'm sure you know the pastum of Govardhan Hill. The residents of Vrindavan, they were fully under the hill, weren't they? So they didn't experience anything of the karma. Even said that Govardhan himself, even though there were thunderbolts, because he had Krishna's touch, he didn't experience anything. And so because Krishna's touch was there, they didn't experience anything. So to the degree one is taking shelter of Krishna, to that degree they'll experience their own karma. And so, but that doesn't mean Krishna could still give you a karma even if you're fully taken shelter, because there's many different reasons he can do that. So if you take the life of Srila Prabhupada, for example, Srila Prabhupada, he experienced karma, for example, but he's a pure devotee. He's coming from the spiritual world. So Krishna arranged some situations for him so that actually it would give us an example to follow, if that makes some sense. So the essence is, I'll just, because it's probably confusing, but the essence is that ultimately Krishna is behind everything, and to the degree one is surrendered, that they'll experience Krishna's hand, or karma, if that makes sense. I hope that helps, if that clears. Yeah. Thank you for your question.
I also want to ask a question.
Yes.
When you say degree of surrender,
Yes.
what does it mean? Like, what are the degrees of surrender that you have?
Yes. Yeah. That's a really wonderful question. So there's one of our teachers, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he describes the 6 limbs of surrender. So 6 different items that one can do to surrender. And so the first 2, which are the primary of importance to us, you accept what's favorable to the practice of Krishna consciousness, and you reject what's unfavorable to the practice of Krishna consciousness. So when one shows that they're doing that to their best degree, that they're trying to accept the practice of Krishna consciousness and trying to reject things which aren't favorable to Krishna consciousness, that's a good first step for us that we can practice and then come to Krishna. Then there's other things which include trying to practice humility, seeing the Lord as our only maintainer, different aspects. But those first 2 that we sincerely practice, that's how we show Krishna we're taking shelter. I hope that helps. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you.
श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौरानिताई की, शीला प्रभुपाद की जय जय गौराचंद्र आरती का शोभा Shini Vasa Chaitradara Nikate Advaita Shini Vasa Madhura me ranga baje वदन उज्ज्वला बहुकोटि चन्द्रचेले वदन उज्ज्वला गला देसे बनमाला कोरे जलमाला गला देसे बनमाला विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने Shri Radha Gokulanand ki Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribhajagacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Samstapanacharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribhajagacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Brahmsakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kun Gil Govardhan Ki Braj Bhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ayodhya Dham Ki Gangamaya Jamunamaya Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Srimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Yugadharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Oh, he asked me, what is your problem?
Just sing.
Very strange.
You need to sing.
Sorry? What is your problem? Thank you. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Narasimhamadiim saranam prapade. Narasimhamadiim saranam prapade. Tavakara kamalavare nakamabhuta shringa dalita hiranyakashipu tanubringa keshavadrita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare Savakara kamalavare nakha adhuta shringa dalita hiranyakashipu tanubringa keshavadrita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare keshavadrita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare keshavadrita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jaya nrsimhadev 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 jaya nrsim jaya pralad maharaj jaya pralad maharaj jaya pralad maharaj jaya pralad maharaj Prabhupada 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 jaya jaya Prabhupada 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 jaya jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nrsimha Bhagavan ki Srila Prabhupada ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol
Hare Krishna. Mahaprasadam will now be served in the reception area. Thank you.
Every Friday we do this program. Every Friday until Christmas. Because then you not a will can. You saw, yeah?